guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. That video processed until, let's see, I started it at 3 a.m. in the morning. The last one, anyhow, the little sb220 I just did. What is in here? Mailbag. We're gonna do mailbag here real quick. Merry Christmas. Here's a small token of my appreciation for all that I've learned from watching your fantastic and very informative videos. Thank you very much. Please email me at, I like to send you pics of my sb226 build monoband 6-meter amplifier. Oh, this guy, I've been talking to him on and off the phone. Here, I'll put you out on Blast Street, brother. I've been helping that guy with his 6-meter. He took an sb220 and he monobanded it for 6-meter, and I've been talking him through it. I spent a lot of time talking through things with people, so I don't have to have it here, so I don't have to deal with it, so I don't have to work on it. Oh, dude, you are the shit. Look at this. Oh, man, thank you. Dude. He sent me his output network out of his sb220 as a thank you gift, because he knows how valuable these are. And he sent me the most valuable part of them all, the input band switch. Dude, thank you. Thank you so much. WN3SIX. Thanks, dude. I'm gonna take a picture of that. I'll put you up on Facebook here in a minute. Thanks, man. That... See? It just pays to be nice to people. It just pays to be nice and not be a douche. Mom always said, don't be a dick. That's cool. I wasn't expecting that today. Set you over here, man. I'll be back. Good morning, guys. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to stay awake till 6 o'clock this morning, or 7:30 this morning. So I did a 27-hour day yesterday, 26-hour day yesterday. Got a little bit of sleep. Just took my wife to lunch because it's gonna be the last time I get to see her for a couple days. Or it's half of them. Give them my. I buy these from Alan Bond at Max Gain Systems. These are the only good Teflon-based PL259s that you can buy. Let's take a quick look at this, guys. That's fucking awesome, man. So goodbye to demonetization there. That is really awesome. Thanks, dude. That means a lot to me. Alan Bond, these are a couple dollars a piece. They're one piece. Okay? One piece. Lot Stoddard construction. This is real silver plating. Okay? If we leave this in a wet environment, this will start to turn green silver. Yeah, and silver. And real gold plating on the pin, and the pin won't fall out. It's getting hard to find high quality components since nothing's made here in the United States anymore, and the market is just completely flooded with garbage. You go to Amazon or about anywhere else on the interboobler, tits up titty confuser, you're going to get this connector here. Let's do it this way. Let's look at the backs. So this is one homogeneous piece of metal. This is obviously two pieces of metal that have been pressed together in some Chinese factoria. Let's do our side porno profile. You'll see the shaft. The output shaft on this one is much longer. The base plates are much thinner. The neck is very shitty. The shoulder on this thing's very shitty. And then frontal exposure here. Vaginal orifice is open. Well, this has got 4 pins. This has got one with a slice down the side of it. This is a barrel with a slice. And this has got 4 fingers for better compression. Oh, this is actually made of Teflon. This is made of white ammonium. You just touch this with a soldering iron and these pins fall out and they spin in the journal body. These are worthless. And there is literally, no joke, $1.90 difference between the two. This is like $1.09, this one here. This is about anywhere from $2 to $3 a piece. I don't even remember what I paid for these. I think I ordered 200 or 300 of these. I can't use garbage like this. So be aware of what you're buying. These are the kind of SO239 connectors we use around here. And we use all Amphenol PL259s. Because in that one video I said, is $1 worth it? I mean, really, is $1 worth it? Is that $1 worth your entire station and the thousands of dollars worth of equipment attached to it? It's like ham dudes. I don't get them, man. They'll spend their child's college money on a ham radio, drive this shitty little shitbox beater car, starve their family half to death, and they'll buy the radio, but they won't spend $5 on a goddamn ground rod. Okay. So, as we covered in the video yesterday, and the video the day before that, 1 is none, 2 is 1. This is a true friend, right here. I mean, I wish you guys could have been on the phone. I was literally bitching at him like, dude, what am I going to do, you know? And he sent it in original packing foam. Look at that. He says, dude, don't worry, I got you. And he literally picked his shit up off his bench and he sent me his KC901. Thanks, Zane. Now to go do some measuring tests. Heard from DeSpace, they said that this unit has been out of production for years, but they would gladly supply me all the parts. And as Anna put it from DeSpace, what parts do you need, my dear? And I simply responded back, all of them, times 3. So what I was saying is, go pull your parts list for the KC901S, the main RF send board, because there's your display process board, and then on the back you got an RF send unit. Send me all of those parts, times 3. Thanks, Zane. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I mean, God damn, that means a lot. I mean, it's literally like, you know, your Honda breaks down, or your Lambo breaks down, or your Ferrari breaks down, and your buddy's got one exactly like it. And he goes, here, man, just take my car, put your license plates on it, nobody will know no different, and when you get your shit fixed, send it back. Oh, and I'm not going to charge you anything. And I'm going to drop everything I'm doing right this minute so I can get it out the door so we can overnight it for you. Thanks, bro. Let's see, today is Wednesday. sb221. Repair my sb220 amp. Replace the two 3500Zs with new ones or a steel tube. Please call me. Blah, 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 blah. Dark Knight. This guy's a kick in the pants. This is Obama for your mama right here. Oh, man, my phone's ringing like crazy. Let me pull the base and the body off this. We'll be back. Okay. I'm here. Just talked to my guy. He's going to take these tubes, set those aside. They're new in box. We'll come back to that. So we're going to replace parasitics. We're going to get rid of this Himamajabi garbage here and replace this horse shit here that's in the front. And there's other couple little things here that I want to do to it, and we'll convert it over to 110 and then we're going to run it. So now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it took 4 different pieces of equipment, screwdrivers, four, to take the lid off. I can't stand that. So we're going to fix that. Okay. It's a common problem. This happens a lot. We're used to seeing it where the screws get stripped out. Because remember, there's sheet metal screws that were in here when we started. Sheet metal. I need my deburring tool. Oh, where are you, Mr. Deburring tool? Here. Sheet metal screws get stripped out. It seems like guys just reach over and they grab whatever and slap it in the hoe. Slap the hoe. That's no good. So we're going to change that. We are going to put crush nuts in this thing, 632s. So we use stainless steel hardware from now on, and we never have to have another stripped out anything ever again. You guys have seen me do this 100 times. 100 times. Crush nuts in. Crush. Release. Uh-oh. Come on. Don't be a quitter. Oh, it's all bent. Look at this. Wobble, 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 wobble. It's like a penis. Whoop. Throw it in the trash. So, for those of you not in the know, I'll tell you what I'm doing here. You can go to China Freight, and for about 10 doll hairs, or for my Canadian friends, you can go to, what is it? Point Sally's or whatever it is up there. And for about 30 Canucks, you can get yourself this tool. And it comes with some 632 inserts for it. But we very quickly run through those. Needless to say, this isn't the first one I bought from them guys. So when this little pin bends, which inevitably it does because it's made from the you know, toughest material on earth. Chinese steel. I mean, this is some hardcore stuff right here, man. This is good steel. When the Chinesium steel bends, I just throw it away. Throw it in the F-it bucket. Now you got to be careful if you buy 632 crush nuts that are in steel. You can't use this Chinesium puller. It'll break the tip of the bit off in the hole, and then she'll be mad at you because then you got to go see a gynecologist to get it out. For just the tip, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Oh, it's a tight fit. So now we don't have to have, oh my God, I swear to God, there's screws that are used to hold doors together. You know, jam screws they had stuffed in here. It's okay, this is my guy, he's cool. Yeah, Mr. G. I like this guy, he's funny as hell. And nothing makes him back up. I love that too. He's solid, man. Nothing makes him back up. And I will continue on. I'll be back. That's my German Shepherd that likes to eat people, don't you? Ah. My incredibly fit German Shepherd. I got both my dogs with me. Come on, get over here on camera so they can see you. Come on. I got my lab Tesla Boo with me. And the Rogue Dig. Okay, so. I hate doing this. But it's already been done. The decision has already been made long before I came along. People are going to operate the way they're going to operate. Now, this guy told me very clearly that he's going to keep this as his special show trophy, and he's only going to work on one frequency. I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. Let's make sure we got meter movement, which we do. And let's see, we got meter movement, which we do. It's a good sign. I hate doing this to an amplifier, but it's already been done. Let me show you what I mean. I thought that when I talked to the guy on the phone, he's like, no, I don't tear all that shit out. And I'm like, ah. And he just kind of like, whatever, BBI, you just do whatever you want. Let's get in here and talk about the nuts and the bolts here for a minute. So down here in the bottom, is the tell me everything about your life history and how the operator runs you resistor. It's a couple K resistor. It's part of our metering circuit. I'll get into that when I go to rebuild it. This resistor right here. This part is what I always tell people. So the max that you can put in this amplifier is 220 watts of power in a peak, not average, but peak. When this resistor pops, this tells me everything I need to know. It says, I've had a hard life. My previous user has beat me senselessly and left me in the field left for dead. That resistor always burns up. Always. Anything over about 220 watts. 230 watts, that resistor's screaming hot. 245, it's burning. So I tell everybody 220 watts. 230 watts at the most. Here's the next little bit of the telling of the story. Somebody liked to drive this hard. Now, this is, oh my God, I wish I could afford that other lens. This is attached to our 10 meter, 11 meter position right here. Okay. But then this one here is attached to the 20 meter. Let's see. 10, 15, 20. It's attached to our 20, but then this coil is completely burned. It means they jammed on it, and they jammed on it, and then they jammed even more into it. So go with me, guys. Believe me when this is a better move. We're going to take most of this junk out. We're going to remove it. And then the same thing on the amp deck side. We're going to move this, the band switch in the back, the output tuning coil. We're going to remove this multi-band parasitic garbage, which we're not going to need. We're going to change our doorknobs over to a completely different setup. We're going to do 2 ceramics. This thing is soft. This one is still hard. This one is incredibly soft, like the one from yesterday. So we're going to strip this out. We're going to go to 2 500 puff ceramics. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to double down on the KVA. I've seen some other modifications here that we're going to get rid of, like we're going to dispense with this. This is not necessary whatsoever. This is an end result of, well, all of this. Overdriven, this is burned up. The wire that's come from off the high voltage board over here, you can see this disc capacitor is black, it's been burned. I'm just going to monoband it. We're going to do it my way. My way. You'll see. All right, when I come back, all that's going to be gone. The input coaxes and stuff on the bottom are going to be on, but wait a minute. Before I get totally torn into... What in the hell? Check this out. I forgot to mute my tone on my phone, and since I have the ringtone set up on my phone as the House of the Rising Suns by Five Finger Death Punch, YouTube will get me for copyright infringement. So the reason I stopped the video and had to restart it is because now I got to go edit out the song and the phone ringing. Check this out. Oh shit. Okay. Let's see. I gotta stabilize the meter movement. No. That's horrendously bad. Come on, click back on there. These little screws are what hold the meter actual mechanical movement in place. I got to tear that whole meter apart. Oh, I'm glad I caught that. The whole meter movement's just in there flopping around. That's bad. Let me fix this first. Okay. Let's widen this up a little bit. So we covered yesterday how expensive these little bastards are. Okay. Now those 2 screws that were flopping around in here, this is what holds the micrometer movement. One goes here, the other one goes here. So, let's see, I need this screw too, driver 2. Pray we can get this apart and not bend the meter, the needle itself. Thank you. Okay. Very carefully. This hasn't been apart for 40 years. This thing could tell stories. Okay. Come on. Don't rip the gasket, just come apart. Tape's falling out of this thing, it's just coming apart. How does it come off of there? I guess just press on it hard enough. Okay. This is so bad. We could have been running this and it could have arced out on the inside. There's a lot of things that could have happened here negative from this. Needles lined up straight. Okay. It's tight. So they used a double-side cloth tape. Use a little bit of cloth tape to reinforce the nut or the back of the screw shaft. We're not going to do that. We're going to use a different kind of tape. We're going to thank Scotch and DuPont for their donation to technology here with their double-sided clear adhesive. Okay. And really all that tape is there is to hold these screws in a captive position. But the double-sided adhesive is there to help hold the faceplate on when we go to reassemble this. Let me show you what I mean. It's technically how this works. So take the faceplate off, because this would be considered a blank from the factory. So you're just going to get the meters, and they're going to be blank. And then you'll show up and you get a boxes of faces. And somebody's got to sit there and hand spankly dankly make meter faces and put them on. Now, there's this program out there called Meter that allows us, the layman user, to be able to create custom faceplates for our meters. Plot this out, take measurements, write in there whatever you want, set your tick marks up any way you want. That's what I do on all my meters when you can get me to build you a tube amplifier. My original 3000 is up for sale. This is going to be interesting. I built this thing many, many moons ago. Many moons ago. And the guy's had it 5-6 years now. Interesting to see what happens or what it brings or what he's able to get for it or what he does with it. Okay. Now the goal is to set this face on there square, but with a little bit of edge showing everywhere. Let's see, yesterday I invoked the power of Rick James when I did this on the other meter. By the power of Shakira, no. Have you guys checked out the new Ozzy CD? The new Ozzy songs? Man, that Under the Graveyard song, I freaking love it. Old man still got it. He's got enough writers and producers and Sharon Osbourne behind him. He's still Power Pro Tools. Okay. So the idea behind the double stick tape is a two-purpose. To cap this screw in place, but also give forward up support to the meter, to the top portion of the meter plate, so it doesn't lay out. I want to adjust this so it's to the bottom. Boy, that could have been bad. I mean, that could have been so bad. Glad I caught that. Okay. That's indexed. That's indexed. Well, let's make sure we didn't fuck it up. It looks good. All right, let's put it back together. Look at this. So I just got the band switch dug out of there. Think I drove the piss out of this? What do you think? And then this is all of this is just covered in soot. This thing's been on fire. It's a shame, but that's what happened. Okay, I gotta figure out how to mount this tuner I want to use. It's this little guy here. It's ball bearing raised. Very fine detail. This is how we're going to set our input tune from now on. We're going to do it through the band selector in the front. Normally, I'd have the kind that's two-piece. Like this. It's got a shaft on it. But this little nub is too short to make it through the back and to the front, and then to be able to latch onto the offset knobs. There's just not enough meat in her window. Her taco is too tight. His stub is too short. Yay. Holy jeez, them shop lights are bright. Okay, so we got rid of all the hibby-majibby that was in the front end of this thing completely. Yep. Oh yeah, I was just using acetone air filter, thank you. My air filter for the shop, for my douche flute, is really sensitive to alcohols for some reason. You can sit there and blow vape jizz right into it, and it doesn't do shit for a few minutes, but man, you open a can of acetone 40 feet away on the other side of the room, and it's like, oh, I can smell that, goes into high crank mode. So I was just acetoning the top side of this tuner, because in its previous life, this was soldered in. So what we did here is we drilled out the hole a little bit, and we pop ribbeted the tuner in place, so it's not going to move. And that's really not enough space to cause the faceplate not to sit flat or cause any other problems. Went ahead and rebuilt this whole circuit here. The reason we're using 2 resistors is because that allows us to do double the watts. So the little 1/4 watt resistor that was in there would start failing, heating up and failing at about 220 watts. Now we'll be able to theoretically put more power into it by spreading it across. That is don't remember the 2 values that I got stacked together, but it is 2.3K or 2,300 ohm, which is only 100 ohm higher than what it's supposed to be. It's okay. This isn't essential to make the amplifier work. That 1% tolerance is not going to make that big of a difference. So this is how we're going to control our input tune. See that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now with a little bit more tweaking, as I'll show you as we go forward here in just a minute, with my KC 901S, I'll show you what I mean by it. I need that particular unit to do this job. I took out the output band, switch, and tuner and tank coil. We're going to build a new one. It's going to go right in here. Not a big deal. And man, everything in here that has been added on, like this shit here, this resistor here, I just pulled this out. It wasn't even soldered in. Everything was not, I mean, it's just barely connected. All of this stuff has just been barely connected. Not safe. That's what I'm getting at. Went ahead and redid these joints, got rid of the parasitics, pulled the doorknob out over here. Just widen it up, Luke. Just widen it up. Pulled the doorknob out. We're going to rework this here in a minute, but we're going to stay on the input side till this is done. We're going to get this squared away. So we're going to put the face on it temporarily to give a little bit of structural support. Yeah, this has been here for a year, believe it or not. So put a screw in over here, put a screw in over here. We're going to flip it over and do some stuff on the bottom. Okay, so now we're on the bottom side. No, why? Why? All right. We're going to get rid of this shit coax. A lot of guys don't want to pay to have this done because this is, once again, $5 whole that probably won't help it produce a single more watt, but it sure makes it a lot safer. So we're gonna, once again, here we go. Once again, coaxes and connections are garbage. So take that off. pull this off, get this out of the way. Now this coax here has got to come out too, because it's, if you could see the up close version of how they have this connected over here, you'd be like, oh yeah, gotta go. Trim that. Pull that hunk of garbage out. Now let's see, when they grounded the grids, they tied that to the shield for some reason. Let's remove that. This nylon stuff is so much better. I just did one on Monday that was full of foam, like RG8X truck stop coax. It was friggin' horrible. Friggin' horrible. It's embarrassing. That stuff, you fart on it and it catches on fire. Okay. Let's get rid of this ugly old shit. Works. Works, but we've got better technology we're going to replace it with. Come on. Okay. There we go. That's the hard part. Come on. No. You're okay. Let's do this. Quit fighting me. We're going to get there together. There we go. Phone. I switched phones here recently. You know, I went to this super badass phone. At least I thought it was going to be super badass. Really not that happy with it, but it's working. Apparently, 918 called me last week. It just now decided to show me the voicemail from that last week, today. I gotta remember to call him back. RG8U. Not even dual shield. Get rid of that too. Let's put that back in its corner. We're going to reutilize this here in a minute. There we go. Don't need that blob of solder. Okay, so now with a little bit of creative routing, we've got all of this space in here. If we move this over out of the way, we're going to utilize this space right here for our new input network. Okay? So check this out. I'm starting to get that exhausted headache. Even my business partner finally decided to show up today, and he couldn't understand why, if this meter went down, why I would have been so stuck this week. And I'm gonna give a visual demonstration. So this is a really simple circuit, coax, RF. This unit sends out a pulse of energy, but it does it across the frequency. So it starts out at whatever, 0 megahertz, and it runs all the way out to 56, 100, all the way out to 3 gigahertz. So it scans it, and then it plots that on a chart, okay? So real simple, RF comes around, comes in, goes through our new RG400, comes around, goes through our relay, drops down this piece of wire, comes across this coil, this piece of wire, attaches to the tuner that's on the front of the amplifier, okay? The system load and a tune, just like the old sweep tube boxes that we used to have. Same thing, simple Pi-L network. Then we got a fixed value capacitor here, because I found if we give people more than one knob to play with the input tune, they get themselves lost. It's really easy to get yourself out of tune here. Very easy. Very small input adjustments up here. The RF comes out, goes around, comes to this pin, goes into the tubes. Okay. So, this is why this tool is so important to me. It tells me everything I need to know in real time, right here, right now, what's going on. It tells me how much capacitance I need to add, how much induction I need to add, or inductance. Come on, get it? I need that other lens. Need that other lens. Bad. Okay. So right now we're looking at the little red highlighted indicator, which is 27.02.812. So we'll come over here and we'll just touch our input tuner and see how we can change. This is infinite SWR up here, 10 to infinite. And then as we move across and down, the more we go in the dip, the more resonant it is. And like I was trying to explain to my business partner earlier today, and he probably got it or he didn't get it, I don't know. It's that this thing allows me to do it alive on the fly. You see how it's adjusting itself? I'm not having to tell it to keep scanning, keep scanning, keep scanning. Okay, what about now? What about now? What about now? What about now? It does it immediately. And believe it or not, all these numbers up here in the corners mean a bunch of different data. Okay. So right now, our resonant dip, our input resonant dip, is right here. We've got a 1.4 SWR at 27.357 megahertz. Well, if I wanted to make that flat, let's say, I just come in here, I take this tuner, this other tuner, and make a very small adjustment. Take a little bit of capacitance out of this tuner. And now instead of a 1.4, we're down to a 1.9, and I can massage that all the way down to a 1.0 if I wanted to. But Without this particular analyzer doing this particular job, every single amplifier is set up with this as my beginning model. Now, as we all know, as you increase your power, everything changes, but this gives you a safe starting point. Okay. Your basic antenna analyzer that most of you guys buy, the Atlases, the MFJs, that garbage, won't allow me to have this graph on the fly, nor will it let me go wide. And what I mean by that is here. Now we're 56 megahertz wide. Think about that for a second. That's a large hunk of frequency. That's from 0 to 50 megahertz, and I'm looking at it right now, real and live time. See? I'm moving it now. I move it back. Very, very handy tool. But then it does a bunch of other stuff. Like if I wanted to go and look specifically as like I wanted to create the tube or an LD MOS unit or a MOSFET or any other transistor, I can punch in that data in my keypad and simulate its amp functions. And this thing has a source out right here. It spits the RF out, and then I can go ahead and look at it on the RF in. And it allows me to be able to analyze the entire circuit without the component even being in the circuit. And I can go and adjust the circuit to make it resonant. There's a lot of other flexibilities to this one unit. It is a very key integral part of things over here. He's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. You could do it with your spectrum analyzer. No. No, this has a spectrum analyzer in it. That's one of about 15 things this does. But it has nothing to do with how I use it. I bought it for these functions. This machine is what only allowed me to figure out LD MOS units, because I could go and pull up the data sheet, emulate the output signal of the device, and then go and play with the palette without having to have the device in there and burning up, you know, $200 parts. This gave me a good starting point. There is not an antenna analyzer yet that has been built that will predict exactly what your antenna is going to do when you go and put a couple thousand watts on it. It'll get you close. The close is good. After a while, you get to learn your analyzer and go, oh, okay, so if I set it up so that my antenna's at home, let's say, if I set this up so it reads a 1.3 when I go and I actually change the electrical current that I'm putting onto the coax and onto the antenna, which changes all of its principles because we're increasing our voltage. And what happens when we increase our voltage? Our resistance changes, everything on the antenna and the entire circuit changes. You can figure out, oh, if I set this up like this on my beam, I set it up at, I think it's like a 1.6 SWR, but then once I go and I put a ton of power to it, it drops down to 0, okay, with the reflect power. This is just to help you get you started. I get that question all the time. Well, I don't understand. I put my MFJ on there. I tuned that thing. It was 50, 50, and 50, and X, and 50, and Y. Great. Let me guess. You have no standing wave, and then when you bring your 16 pill online, all of a sudden it's a 1.4. Well, yeah, how'd you know that? Well, there's a little difference between the 500 milliwatts, if you're lucky. I think this one runs at 250 milliwatts. And that's a quarter of 1 watt, by the way. And the 4,000 plus peak watts your 16 pill puts out. Really? Yeah, we're talking microvolts versus millions of volts. The tip of the antenna, a whole lot of voltage. So, anywho, needless to say, this thing's completed as far as the input tune. I don't need to do anything else. We're good. The only thing I got to do left now is check my pass-through and make sure that we're universally flat. Which we're looking good. Okay, that note, onto the top side. Okay, so I think we got all the things here for everybody to see. We're currently at 3,000 volts. We've got our, remember, do not stick your fingers where you won't stick your dingus. This is all open. This is pure death in here. There's like a whole foot between my hand and the amplifier. Don't be doing nothing stupid. Remember, before you stick your hands in there, it's off, it's cooled down, it's discharged. You verify with an external meter, and then you short. Don't want anybody dying. Okay, so we're at 3,000 volts here. Got a new tank coil in, put new parasitics in it. Changed out your blocker from SpongeBob SquarePants here. And put a ceramic one in there instead. So first we're going to start out with low drive on the 2950. So we're going to have to zoom in on this. It's a 1,000 watt slug. There's our 20 watts drive everybody's come to know and love. It's our 5 watt slug. That's talking through the amplifier into the 10,000 watt bird dummy load. Okay. Let's zoom this back out a little bit. So now we all know from experience that if we take an sb220 and we run it into the bench 2 pill, we put about 220 watts in it, we'll get about 2,000 to 2,300 watts output power. This has been hyper mono bended. Okay. How this works is we hook up our watt meter, focus, hook up our watt meter, and we adjust this knob until we have the lowest input reflect, okay? Which this amplifier with 20 watts of drive, one, pretty flat. Now, I'm here to tell you, the one that I worked on yesterday, when I put 20 watts in it, we saw 300 watts of output. Seen about 550 to 560 watts with only 20 watts of drive. So now we're going to change radios. We're going to come off the 2950. We're going to go onto the striker. Now, also, the other thing we have to keep in mind is these are my tubes. These are the bench tubes. I still haven't even opened the brand new virginal tubes that are sitting over there. And since these things are pretty virginal themselves, I doubt we're going to see a huge performance increase, but we might see a little bit. Okay, so let me show you drive from the striker. Hello, audio. Goodbye. Now, last night we're putting 80 watts of drive into a standard sb220, and we could barely get it to do 1,200 watts. Hello. 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 Perfect. Okay. Very, very, very small adjustments here. And the reason we're having a hard time getting that to tune down is that the 2950 was on channel like 5 or 6. And this one's on channel 20. Doesn't matter, we're gonna have to redip everything anyhow. So let's reach in here. We're gonna go up to 2x scale. And remember, that's our 1,000 watt mark, that big hash mark between the 40 and the 60 there. Hello. Hello. 1, 2. 1, 2. Hello. right on par. Now this is where things start to change dramatically. So once again, we're going to come off the striker, 955. Now we're going to go over to the 490. 490 makes about 120 watts worth of power. Let me show that to you again. So we're back in 1X. Turn on the 490. Hello. About 120 watts worth of drive. Goodbye. Hello. Significantly getting with it. So that 30 extra watts of drive is going to kick us up quite a bit. Hello. 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 See, now we noticed that it arced a little bit. The reason it arced is because it wasn't resonant, and the RF is starting to back up and come back out, or not be able to make it out of the circuit, so it jumped over on the capacitor. I had this conversation last night, remember? Talked about it in the last video. This is a 5 watt slug in reverse. Hello. Hello. It's hovering right around the 1/2 watt mark. Meanwhile, over here, we're getting 1900 watts out of it. 1990 to 2000. With only 120 watts of drive, or 130 watts of drive. Perfectly low input tune, vastly better output potential on the top end. So now, let's go ahead and drive it like we would a normal sb220 and see what happens. Okay, so we added yet another bird meter to the equation, as always. We've got this bird meter here with a 50 watt slug, and it's sitting directly between the sb220 and now the bench 2 pill. We have the bench 2 pill set up to drive this sb220 just like we would a normal amplifier, okay? A normal sb220, not a mono-banded one. Now, what I'm going to show you is not the appropriate way to run this. So please, Facebook click button crazy crackheads, do not think what I'm going to show you is appropriate. We're going to run this thing out to its max here in a minute. And I want everybody to stop and think what exactly we're asking these two little 3500Z tubes to do on 2500 volts. Okay? The little tiny transformer that's inside this amplifier is not designed to support what we're going to do to it. The meters on the front of the amplifier tell us that. Now, I don't know, when I ran this thing earlier, I just made sure I had all the right voltages and I was happy with that, so then I went on. I don't know if the meters were working or not. I know for a fact the grid meter was not. It was burnt to the ground. But we modified it so we can put more pressure on the grid meter and it not turn into a piling, smoking, charred bag of ass. That's what we did with the resistors, okay? So our metering is still accurate and all of our meters work. Our plate amp meter works, our grid, which is so important, works. Pay attention to that, please. But the absolute max that you're going to get out of an sb220 is going to be roughly around 3,000, 3,100 watts, somewhere in there. We know that going in. There's a couple more tricks we can do. We could use like a buck boost transformer, kick the voltage up, go into the plate transformer, get a little bit more chooch for the chotch, but just straight mono banding it allows us to pick up basically a full kilowatt. Now I'm going to show that to you on video. I know that's kind of anti-hype, but I want everybody to understand what's going on, and there's no bullshit taking place here. This is not smart. This will destroy your tubes if you run it this hard all the time, but we're going to show you that it is possible. Okay. We're currently down on 1X, so we're at face value. So 1,000 watt slug. Hello. my gain right. Putting 220 watts of drive into it, just like we do on every SB220 that comes here in this workbench. I am normally perfectly tickled pink if I see 22 to 2300 watts out. Okay? On your standard SB220. We're now on 5X. We're reading that middle scale. Hello. Hello. Seeing 2100, 3100 ish watts. Hello. 1111. Hello, 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 hello. This is the hard part to get right. Because you can put and make your input tune all out of whack, and it's going to show you a whole lot more false power coming out of the ass end, but your audio is going to be all tight. So you listen to these guys on the bowl sometimes. Channel 6. They sound like they got a bag of dicks in their mouth. This is why. 1, they're dead keying too high. 2, they're driving the holy shit out of everything to get every last watt. And 3, their tune isn't correct in between each one of their amplifiers, and it makes them sound like bags of dick in the mouth. Hello, 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 hello. I think I've seen 4 whole watts worth of input reflect, which is perfect. Meanwhile, over here, hello, 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 roughly almost 1,000 bird. Okay. Now, the meters on the front of the amplifier are screaming at us. Stop! Stop, please, you're hurting us. Let me show you what I mean. Right now, we're currently on plate volts, and over here is plate amps. Anything past about here, about 0.7, you're putting undue pressure on the transformer. I can drive it harder and peg that out. Now we're going to go to grid. Watch that meter. That will destroy your tubes faster than anything else in the world. That grid, if that grid goes over about half, bend over here, kiss your butt, lick your dinky dink, goodbye. Your tubes are eventually going to die. You're ripping the grids right out of the tube. Because remember, this is an average meter. This isn't a peak meter, it's an average meter. So your grid current that you're actually pulling at the peak of your modulation is about 2.5 times that. It's a fact, Jack. Not an opinion, fact. We're literally laying it in the corner. Look at our high voltage. Fallen on our face. So come down here to low. Now on low setting, let's look at this. Let's come over here to low setting. Standard SB220 low is going to get you about 1800 watts. Hello. Now it's running like a standard SB220. But on high, we hit the gas button. Hello. 1, 2, hello. 1, 2, hello. 1, 2, hello. Seen about 3100. Now, I don't know about you guys. If we're going to beat the shit out of our tubes like this, I want to give them the best opportunity to survive that you possibly can. I'm a big proponent of these. I'm absolutely in love with these. They have made these tubes run so much differently. When I was using the stock anode caps that are like this, stock ones like this, it looks like I'm really close, but I'm not. The anode cap in between the camera and the actual amp, there's about 2 feet between the camera and the amplifier. 4 or 5, 15 times more surface area on the top of the anode cap. And we're talking about the top of the tube. Those big aggressive heat sink fins that are on top of the tubes make a night and day difference. do yourselves a favor as radio operators. Go over to rfjunk.com, buy yourself a set of these, put them in your amplifier, and watch the temperature difference. The cooler you can keep the tube, the longer the life of the amplifier. I'm not sponsored by him. I'm not getting any kind of monetary anything. It is something I completely believe in and I give my total support to. It's no joke. They work. They absolutely friggin' work. You can tell just by sitting here watching the tubes. I have beat the brakes off of these tubes tonight trying to get this thing to run the way I want it to run, and on there. I have never seen anything but the bottom bell heat up. Think about that for a minute. Normally it goes up 2 or 3 bells in churning cherry red. But oh, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I think I've seen 3200 from over here in these old slidey eyes that I got, but you guys in video land are going to be able to see it much better than me. Man, I gotta tell you, I'm pretty proud. The input tune on this, I'm going to copy it a lot because this worked out just perfectly. Freaking thing's so low, it's lower than like Magic Johnson's T-cell count. I'm here to tell you, it's good to go. All right, clean all this mess off the bench. I'll shoot a little private video for just the customer real quick with my cell phone. And we'll be back because all we got to do is button it up because we're done. Oh no! When we get back, well, no, I'm not going to even take the new tubes out of the box. I think I was gonna de-cherry them right here on the workbench, and I don't think that's appropriate. We're gonna send them to them sealed in the box. That way, there's no liability on moi. All right, we shall return. Yeah, I just ran out of steam last night, you guys. I gotta apologize. Sorry. Super tired. Not that I'm doing any better this morning. Run on the end of a prayer here. Exhausted. So, let me pull these tubes out, and we're going to talk about how to properly run this thing. To properly monoband an amplifier, what you're doing is really you're mono frequencing it, okay? This particular guy is a 27.025 freak, which is cool because, well, that's where the big boys play. So listen, we are going to get our slug out, our meter out, like this here, and we're going to put it directly with a 3-foot piece of coax or an integer of 3, 3-foot piece of coax or an integer of 3, which means 6, 9, 12, you do the math. You're going to have to be a fairly small element too. Like for the video's sake, I used a 50-watt element. You're going to tune this for your peak power, these two, and tune this for the most minuscule amount of reflect you're going to get. I more than adequately demonstrated that it is dead on for where it needs to be. I mean, it's dead on the money. This thing, I'm not going to lie, I had practice on this already this week. I spent most of Monday and a good hunk of Tuesday monobanding another guy's amplifier, and we got right to where we were going to close the wrap video, and the plate transformer just gave up the ghost and let all the smoke out all at once, all in one time. Copious amounts of white smoke flowing out of this thing. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do, exactly what parts I needed to put where, hence the reason I was able to bang this out so quick yesterday. Okay. Yes, there have been notes taken on this because this worked really, really well. This is the second or the third one I monobanded, and each one they get a little bit better. The other one did the same amount of watts. I just took me a little bit longer to think it all through and get it all put together. So, the end of the deal, I'm happy. The customer's happy. Everybody's happy. So, once again, to repeat, because I don't know about you, you tell me once, I'm going to forget it. Tell me twice, I'm going to forget it again. Tell me a third time, I'm going to forget it again. Tune this for peak power and the most minimal amount of grid current that we can achieve. Okay, so it's a combination of the two. Peak power minimal amount of grit current. This is really your dictating window of what you're doing to your tubes. You are going to destroy them if that needle's over in the right-hand corner. Now, for a lot of years, guys didn't give a shit because the 3500Z was cheap. Those days have passed. You're now currently looking for a decent match set of 3500Z's Chinesium knockoffs, like $470. Easy. And I mean like easy $470. It's no joke. It's not. This is becoming such a niche market that it is, everything is getting absurdly expensive. Now, when you go to adjust this, you're going to make adjustments about that much. That's like channel 6. That's like channel 20. Okay? It's not even moving a capacitor. Oh, let's get in here and tighten these screws down a little bit more. What the hell is going on? Come here. Oh, that's moving it. Be somewhere right about in there. I keep forgetting this has got a reduction gear on the front of it, and it's ball bearing based. This cap. And we're stopped. Stopped. Now there's no hard stop on this, by the way. What do you mean by that there, BBI? There's a disconnected clutch, so it can sit there and just spin, keep you from breaking anything. If I was a guessing man, I would say you're going to be somewhere in the 20s range, but is what it is. Look, a lot of love and energy went into this. And I'm really excited for this guy to get this amp back. Can't wait to see what he ends up doing with it. So let me get the armor on it. We'll shoot the wrap into this thing, and then I got to do another PSA video because we ended up having an accident in the radio industry yesterday. So I will return. I must have gotten busy talking yesterday because the batteries in my freaking wireless microphone here are about already dead again. I just replaced them yesterday. Well, Mr. Grits and Gravy, bro. It's been a pleasure. I know you've been waiting a year for me to do this with you. I'm going to take the receipt for these two tubes. I'm going to slide it right in here. Okay. These are your stock anode caps. A wise man once said, go to IF Junk. Go buy upgraded anode caps. Let's go over this real quick. Still sealed in the IF pots paper tape. Buy IF Junk anode cap. Make thing run much better. Just be aware that you're going to be a little bit tight on the top between the lid. So keep your eyes on that when you go and put the inner armor in place. That's all PIM nutted in. That's all perfect. It's got 632 stainless steel hardware holding everything in. No more door jamb screws anywhere in this amplifier. No more painted over with house paint nut drive screws in here. It's all one giant homogeneous uniform 632 thread. I'm not re-editing my video. Hopefully that's not enough music to get me demonetized. It actually happened here a couple days ago. So we called on the phone, I let it ring too long, and YouTube had a cow. But At the end of the day, guys, we're done. This is done. I got 3 more to go that I'm going to work on in this little batch. A very time-consuming process to work on these things, and I'm grateful for you guys taking the time to watch. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Big shout out to Bird, Coaxial Dynamics, Siglant always, Excess Power always, and a thanks to all you gentlemen for your patience, your kindness, and you're willing to let me work through these problems. Well, projects. I gotta run, gentlemen. We're on to the next one. Mr. Grittsngravy, it's all you, buddy. It's been a pleasure. Guys, remember, we had an accident take place here just here recently, as in like yesterday. We're a very well-known builder. Well, he's in the hospital. Keep your hands out of here. Unless it's unplugged, off, shorted out, and grounded and discharged. And you know this for a fact other than the meter on the front. Be terrified of this on the inside. Perfectly safe on outside. Inside, death. And it'll hurt the whole time while you're dying. Don't be stupid. You guys be smart, have fun, and respect each other. We're all in this little hobby together. I'll see you. Bye.